This is how you do the black and white destructive conversion and non-destructive conversion with colorizing assignment. I have a picture on my desktop that I am going to use, and it is right here. It's called Face. So it says pick a photo that you took using a DSLR camera, create a folder called BW. So I'm going to right click, new folder, and it's right down here. I'm going to click on it and change it to BW for black and white. Okay, add this photo to the folder. So I'm going to put this in the folder. It's in there. Now I'm going to duplicate the photo by opening the folder, right-clicking the photo, and selecting duplicate. Do this 2 times so you have 3 photos. So click, right-click, duplicate, right-click, duplicate. So now I have 3 photos. Okay, I am going to rename them original, destructive, and non-destructive. So I'm going to go back in here. Original, destructive, and non-destructive. Okay. Open the destructive photo in Photoshop. Go to image mode, grayscale, and discard the color. So I'm going to open Photoshop. You can do this through Bridge, or you can just do it from your desktop, whichever you prefer. I can also go in here and open this folder, and then click on, right-click on destructive and say open with Photoshop. Okay, now when you go to image and mode, you're going to see currently that RGB is checked. That means it's a color picture. I am going to change it to grayscale, which is going to remove the RGB. And if I say discard, it destroys all of the color. That's why it's called a destructive version of black and white. Okay, so that's now black and white. If I try to add a color in here, I picked blue. Over here it's not blue, it's grayscale, because this says under the mode that it's grayscale, so you can only do grayscale stuff here. So I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to go to the non-destructive picture and open that. So File, Open on my desktop. Black and white. I'm going to open non-destructive. Okay, this time I'm going to go to image mode, but instead of changing this stuff, this is going to stay RGB. I'm going to image adjustments, hue and saturation, and I'm going to drag the saturation arrow all the way to the left. It looks black and white. However, if you go to image mode, you can still see that it's RGB, so it's still color. You can also see over here that this is now an actual color. There are a couple of ways that you can add color to this. I can come over here and pick a color. Let's pick, that's pretty good. And you want to do this at an opacity of like 20%, so you can do it slowly. I'm going to pick the paintbrush. The opacity should be around 20%, so you can do it a little bit at a time. This tool is too big, so I'm using the left bracket to make it smaller. And I'm going to put some blush on her cheeks. There's a little bit of blush on her cheeks. Okay, I'm going to add lip color. The other thing that I can do, there are lots of ways you can do this. I can do a quick select of her lips, which I'm going to do. Again, I'm going to use the left bracket to make this smaller. I want to pick just her lips. Okay, I need to get her teeth out of there. So I'm going to the minus to get rid of her teeth. Okay, so now I've got her lips picked. Let's change this a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to pick a lip color. I'm going to pick something kind of pinkish, maybe reddish. Now I'm going to add in lip color. The cool thing about this, I'm going back to the paintbrush, is when I try to add color out here, nothing happens. It only happens inside this space. And I'm going to make the tool big enough where I can go through in one pass and add the color. So there's one pass. That's too light for me. I'm going to add another pass, maybe another pass. Okay, and I'm also going to, you don't have to do this, but I am going to adjust the contrast so I can see the detail of her lips a little bit better. Okay, so now I have colored her lips. When you colorize this, you need to colorize at least a quarter of it. Okay, a quarter to a half. So I am now going to come in and maybe add some color to the flowers. So let's do an orange. I'm going to freehand this. So I'm going to add some color up here, add some color down here. I might make this one a little bit darker by going through multiple passes. So the more I go over it, the darker it's going to get. Add some color here. I might change to a different color. You have to use at least 2 colors when you do this. So let's go to a yellow. That's pretty good. I'm going to add some yellow in here, maybe a lot more yellow. Make the tool a little bit smaller. Maybe make this one exclusively yellow. Okay, and then, so once I get this all done, I might add some color to the leaves. Let's do a green. And then come up to the leaves, add in some green, wherever I choose. Again, I'm freehanding it right now. Okay, so that's about a quarter to a half done. I'm going to quit this and save this picture. So quit Photoshop. And save it. Now I'm going to make a contact sheet of all 3. So File, Automate, Contact Sheet 2. I'm doing this in Photoshop because that's where I was. Okay, you're going to have 3 pictures. So you're going to have 3 columns, 1 row. You do want to use file names so I know which one's original, which one is destructive, which one is not destructive. Width and height are going to be different. And it's okay to flatten all layers, it doesn't matter on this. And I need to choose the folder I'm using. When you do this in Photoshop, you have to choose the folder that you're using. So I'm going to choose the folder I'm using, black and white, and then hit OK. And there is my final result. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file. So that says Photoshop PDF. I'm going to save it in the black and white. I'm going to call it black and white. It's a PDF. Of course, you always have to say OK, save, and yes. And then I'm going to double check it, which is always a good idea. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. So I'm going to go to the folder with the black and white, double click on the PDF. It should appear in this the corner. Let's see if I can get this right. It should appear up here, up here, up here, in the corner of your picture right here. And it should be fairly small, and that looks good, so that is ready to turn in. And that is how you do the black and white assignments.